But first, back to that Chinese spy balloon. So it spent the day Friday flying over the state of Montana. That's the fourth largest state by land in the entire country. It's also one of the most sparsely populated states in the entire country. Before that balloon was ultimately shot down on Saturday off the coast of South Carolina.
And joining us now for more is Montana Congressman and a member of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, Congressman Matt Rosendale. Sir, thanks for joining us. So you sent out this tweet saying it's about time, after a week of gathering information on the U.S., we bring it down. Sir, this balloon was hovering over your state of Montana. What do you make of Biden waiting to do this until it goes pretty much almost across the country?
Thanks, Allison. First, I'd like to send my thoughts and prayers out to the people of Turkey and Syria after experiencing that tragic earthquake last night. There's a lot of loss of life there, and I think we all should keep them in our prayers. As we start having a discussion about this Chinese spy balloon, this thing hovered above the state of Montana, above some very sensitive information. You guys know that we have Malmstrom Air Force Base that's responsible for 140 ICBMs to protect our nation. And I truly don't believe that the administration would even have told us about it had it not been for the folks of Montana recognizing this thing in the sky and making all of these reports. We'd had some airports that had stopped flights for several hours in Billings and Bozeman. And so the folks knew something was up, literally. And as they started searching the sky, they saw this. We had Larry Meyer from the Billings Gazette. He used to be a photographer there.
Right.
Actually took some photographs of it and turned it in. So the problem continues to be that this administration won't recognize the threat of the Chinese Communist Party that it poses on America, and they're trying to keep all of this information from American citizens.
Oh, I haven't spent more time. I've been on the Billings Gazette website for the past 3 days. There were people that are quoted in that article that you mentioned that said they could see this thing with the naked eye. They just looked up and they could see that it was the size of 3 city buses. Here's what Mayor Pete Buttigieg, or I should say Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, said yesterday about why this thing was shot down over water instead of land.
The debris field was about 7 miles. And so the concern, of course, is how do you do it in a way that absolutely minimizes the danger to American lives on the ground and any kind of aviation operations. That's exactly what happened. FAA worked closely with the Pentagon. This thing was brought down in a safe manner, and flights are back to normal in the U.S.
Congressman, they call it Big Sky for a reason. Nobody knows Montana better than you. Could they have brought this thing down over an empty field or a mountain in Montana and still been able to recover the debris?
I'm sure they could have, and no one knew at that time, I'm sure, what was contained within the flotation device itself. However, my question is, Rob, why is it that as it traversed across the Pacific Ocean that it wasn't identified? Why is it before it reached Alaska wasn't it identified? Why is it that as it was traveling across Canada wasn't it identified? What were the Chinese trying to collect? What data? What were they just probing us to see how our reaction would be? And then this administration, the only response we get from them is, oh, by the way, the Trump administration had some of these same altercations or conflicts with spy balloons, but yet his entire administration has come out and refuted this. We are very concerned about the fact that there was a Chinese spy balloon flying across our nation, across some of the most sensitive sites in the country, and this administration did virtually nothing about it. And then, once it reached the Atlantic Ocean, exploded it so that the possibility of us retrieving the equipment and the information that it had gathered is pretty well nil.
Yeah, flying over 5 military bases certainly makes people nervous for sure. Before we let you go, I do want to get your reaction to DirecTV's censorship of Newsmax. 17 congressmen spoke to the House about it. What should happen next?
This is another technique that big tech and big corporations are using to silence the opposition party. They don't want to have free speech taking place. And fortunately, Newsmax is one of the only outlets that gives people like myself the ability to get the message out to the people across this country. There's someone fighting for them. And so I appreciate the fact that Newsmax help us get that message out.
Congressman, we appreciate you. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning and breaking that down. Good to see you. Congressman Matt Rosendale.